Hello and welcome into Winging It, part of the Ringer Podcast Network. I'm your host, Annie Finberg, joined by my lovely co-host, Mr. Vince Carter.
He is still in the house.
He is here. It's been so long. The people miss you. I miss you. What have you been up to? Tell us everything.
I mean, nothing. Fighting this pollen, mostly, and working on my social distancing outside of golf. But golf right now is that's the best, just because you can get away, and it's not a lot of people. I mean, it's people out there, but they don't allow you to be, close to each other. So it works for me. I haven't seen like a ghost. It's like living in a ghost town, pretty much. I've seen neighbors that I've never seen before. I tell you, it reminds you of the late 80s, early 80s, excuse me, in the 80s in general, I guess. Just when, as a kid, this is going to sound like I'm old, but as a kid, like we go play out in the yard, say hi to the neighbors, and you just did everything outside. You go in, you watch maybe a few TV shows because we didn't have very many. And that's really what it was. You didn't really get on the computer. You didn't get on, you didn't have all that. So it kind of reminds me of my childhood, really, as far as just finding things to do outside, riding bikes. I mean, you see people walking up and down sidewalks, kids riding their bikes. Like, in a year and a half, I hadn't seen none of that around here. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it brings out, I guess, an interest to actually get outside and do other things that you wouldn't normally be doing during all this.
Yeah, I know it's tough for the younger generation as far as, because, social media, which you still have, but this having access to go do anything at any time, you can go on social media, see what's going on. Hey, I'm going to go there. And it's not quite like that now. So I think outside of that, I'm sure it's an adjustment for everyone.
How are the kids adjusting to it? Vincent not being in school, obviously the baby doesn't know, but...
Everybody's good. My oldest, she's doing Zoom school pretty much.
Oh, she is.
Yeah, they started that like 2 weeks ago. So she hated it at first, obviously, but she's in school from 8 to 3.
Wow.
So I mean, they get their breaks. Obviously, just like you change classes, you log off and you log back on. They get a lunch break. Obviously, they don't get like a PE, that stuff there, but they do stuff in their PE classes. So. Yeah, she's going crazy. She's one of them young ones who likes to be out and about. So, right, and not being able to go to her activities, I'm sure, is rough. Yeah, sports for her. She's missing practices, but I was like, hey, sounding like a dad. Like, this is the time you can work out and work on your body. Right. She's like, yeah.
She can read a book or something.
Yeah.
And the pollen is clearly killing both of us. It's at freaking 5,000 right now. It's like the highest it's ever been, which it's not the time.
Yeah, this is not the time.
So you are still in Atlanta then.
I am.
You decided to stay put for a while. What went into that decision, not going back to Florida or whatever?
Just playing the waiting game. I mean, for me, packing up and moving, it's not just me. So, I have 3 dogs as well. So it's just a lot. It's a lot goes into this machine. So I just felt like right now I'm gonna stay put and just kind of see what's going on. We had, as a team, I just had a 14-day quarantine cleansing. So I just felt like I should just stay here. Well, we couldn't leave. I'm sure there's some guys who kind of got out, but I didn't leave. And then once that was lifted, we were able to kind of go about. We just had to kind of tell them where we're going, who we're going to be around. I just said, forget it. I'll wait a little longer just to see what happens, because you know me. Well, I know me. And once I get to Florida in that great weather,
there's no coming back.
It's going to be tough to come back.
So obviously things happened how we did not expect them to happen at all for your final season. And we still don't really know. I mean, maybe probably more than I do, but just walk us through that day for you when, everything was coming out. Rudy might have to be positive. And I know you found out mid-game that the season was, being suspended. So just walk us through that day and what it was like for you.
Well, I'm going to say this first and foremost. This is actually the first time talking about it. I haven't been up for talking about all of this. But we're fine. What better time than to talk about it on our show? But and I apologize to all the people who's reached out or asked for interviews to talk about quote unquote retirement and all of that. But it's just the season to me is up in the air. So I just felt like I didn't want to talk about it yet. And then once it was actually official, then I was willing to talk about it. But obviously this is a chance for me to kind of talk about it. But leading through the day, it was a normal day, but it was just weird. I don't know. I kind of felt like that maybe the season wouldn't continue. I wasn't sure, but it was just a weird feeling. Like I felt like, okay, yeah, we're gonna finish the game, we'll play the game, and we go to the next one like normal. But I guess there was just a small part of me that was like, I don't know if we're gonna make it. When you hear everybody talk about it, obviously that goes into the back of your mind, and we go about our day, kind of laughing and joking, making jokes about the whole thing somewhat before the game with two of the coaches that I shoot with. And then all of a sudden you get to game time and you're playing, and it was a weird game how it was going. And they get to halftime, and first coach kind of laid into us a little bit because we were playing great basketball in the first half. And right before we start the third quarter, he coach walks up to me, LP, was like, "You heard about Rudy Gobert?" I was like, "No, I was shooting, so how would I?" And he kind of tells us, and then next thing the whispers start happening on the bench. And then as soon as I heard that, I was like, "Oh yeah, they definitely stopping the season right now." And you finish the game, but I didn't even think about everything else with probably everybody else who's on their phone throughout the game thinking like, this could be the last, because we don't know. It's just like, oh, they're definitely going to stop it. That's kind of where it was, and you kind of refocus on the game and didn't really think about it potentially being my last game or anything like that until our great friend Dwayne Denman threw it out there. Of course. And he was like, man, this might be your last one. They could possibly, stop playing or end the season right here. And I was just like, that would be crazy. And that kind of was it. And then all of a sudden you start hearing chants, because I guess it kind of hit everybody else. And I was like, nah, I'm good. Y'all relax. No. And DeAndre Bembry jokes is like pushing me on the court. I'm like, nah, chill. Like, I'm good. And it like seems like right after that moment, they started to chant again. And it got louder and louder. And I was like, nah, I'm good. And I kind of made eye contact with Coach. And he was like, yeah. And right like then, it's like a chill just hit me like, oh, shoot. Yeah. And I was laughing it off and I was good. And as a check-in, it was kind of like the reality of it. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to enjoy it, whatever. I just wanted to get a shot off. Obviously, you always want to make your last one because you never know. Or, they're like, dunk it. I'm like, look here, I was sitting on the bench too long to attempt the dunk.
Let me get a three up real quick.
Oh, yeah. At this point, sitting there that long, I'm like, 3 points is more than two any day of the week. I was shooting the three ball, and I was happy more so. Everybody was happy to see it go in. I was just happy I was able to get the ball there. It was just mind over matter at that point because, like I said, it's one of those moments. Like I can't say like people when if you think of a game-winning shot, you think sometimes you want to shoot the ball and you want to be perfect. You want to have the perfect form, the perfect arc, perfect follow through, the whole nine. I've always been a guy that's like, I believe, I've trusted in all the work, and I hadn't been shooting the ball well, in my opinion, all year. But when it came down to a shot that I needed to make, it was like second nature, and I've done it before. So Trey throws the ball, I take my 1-2 step and just shoot it like I've been playing the whole game. And it was kind of it's giving me chills right now. Actually, it was kind of a chilling moment to see it go in because I was like, because at first I was like, all right, the season's going to go back in. But at the same time, I was like, well, just in case it doesn't, you might want to try to make this. You know what I'm saying? So it was coming to go in and kind of enjoy the festivity, which, I struggle with during the game. You know, being at the last, it was at the end of the game. It was a little easier to enjoy the moment, and it was fun. It was fun. I'm just glad that it went in. So it's just something I always remember because it'll always be talked about. And regardless, you know, I can say this now, and who knows how the season ends and navigates, but regardless, I'm one with either result or either way this ends up. If that was the last game, that was the last shot, I made my last shot and I'm cool with it and I'm okay. And I feel good about my career and how things ended. If not, and the season continues, it continues.
Right. We're back.
Yeah. Just like that. So it's just, I just try to, in my mind, I'm approaching it as the season's over. I mean, there's a lot of people, I get a lot of people tweeting me, telling me, I hope it's not your last game. And I appreciate that. But, for me, I'm just trying to attack it like I've done before. Just, hey, the season's probably over. And then if it does, it's like, hey, surprise, you get a bonus 3 to 5, 10, whatever they're going to choose for us to play. But if not, I'm kind of in the mode. And Golf Vince has been pretty darn good.
Golf Vince has arrived.
Oh, man, he's been good.
I think that's probably, and that's kind of how I've been thinking of it as like, that was probably it. But if not, like, that's awesome. We have more basketball to be played. But it seems like the longer it goes, I don't know, you might know more than I do, but it's like, we're getting close to what would be next season and they want to do playoffs and whatever. So
what has helped me what helps me kind of transition and to be in this mode is because I have golf. I have something that I enjoy. I have something that challenges me. Even with all of this going on, I can go out there in the course and just work on that and still be in competition mode with myself and just with getting better. So I think that helps kind of stepping away from the game or walking away from the game, whichever one happens right now. That helps the transition. Can
you imagine like how crazy you'd be going right now if you didn't have golf? Because it's like, what do you do?
I can't imagine.
And it's a good like next step if that is what it is. Like you're ready to be in your retired life and playing golf and you're still competing. So
yeah, exactly. And it's something I enjoy doing. So it makes it easier because if I didn't play golf, it's like, just think about this. So now we're going through this period, obviously around family and doing everything around the house. And you see every inch of your house all day, every day.
Yep.
And you tend to get outside, but then it will be just, I'm waiting to see what happens to go into phase 2 of broadcasting or whatever it is I choose to do, at least in between time to kill time. My little fella, I shoot basketball all day anyway in the yard with him. I'm on the phone with my daughter. We talk basketball. We talk about life and all that stuff. I get to be a dad 24/7 instead of, spots, his spot there just because of, everything. And then an outlet is get on the course when I can.
Yeah, it's been a weird time, but like a cool time to reconnect with people or, connect, like you said, like be a dad 24/7 when this probably is not something we ever thought we'd experience. Like I'm talking to my extended family more and old friends and stuff like that. It's giving us a time to connect.
You start reaching out to people you talk to people here and there like, hey, what's going on? Just checking into. But now it's like, I feel like, and I'm sure you'll feel the same. And people who are listening to this going to feel the same. It's like at some point you feel like, hey, man, let me just FaceTime or let me get on a Zoom call. Let me get on, neighborhood party or something, whatever it's called. And like you get on all these different apps so you can talk to a lot of people, so you can see somebody because you're locked in you're locked in the house, and it's just it's a weird time. It's a scary time. Everybody's feel like they're an expert. And I don't want to sit here and sound like everybody else, but I just hope everybody kind of has a chance to reflect and learn more about themselves for one. Your do's and don'ts, and maybe figure out and find new hobbies of new things about you that you didn't know. Mm-hmm. You're doing things, I'm sure, like reading and just either meditating. I don't know, just people just trying to find things to do where we always we had an outlet of, I'm bored, so I'm going to go to the bar, club, strip club, whatever it is. Now it's like you find different things to do with yourself. And it could be a blessing in disguise as far as just people having another tool in their belt when all of this is over with. So we just hope people remain, we hope people are smart about, how they go about their day and being around people and just taking precautions, obviously. So I do the same. And hopefully this is over sooner than later.
And speaking of taking precautions, I think it would mean a lot for people to hear from you how important it is for them to be staying in the house right now. I've been watching the news way too much, but
that's the biggest thing I was going to say. Watching the news, I think it scares you a little bit. Obviously, you want to educate yourself on how this all works and the smart way to handle things. And obviously, there's people who have to be in a workplace and around people. We just hope they're being protected by us who aren't able to go to work and just do the right thing. That's all I say. I just say, just do the right thing. I think we understand and know what that means. And, I don't want to be like, oh, you need to make sure you're 6 feet away and go wash your hands. I mean, that's all the obvious things that we need to do. So that's why I say, just be smart and make the right decisions. Obviously just think about it for your family, not even if we think about other people's well-being. Think about it for your family in general. Like you will want the next person who may have this virus or not to be away from your elderly family or family in general. So we should do the same, it's tough. It's a tough situation. It's an adjustment period that you have to do. It's not, I will take a couple of months to work my way into it. It's not that. And that's I think the toughest thing for everybody, was driving people crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. It's nothing we've ever experienced before. And so it's been just such a weird year in general.
From the start.
From the very start. So is there anything else you've been working on outside of your golf game and your parenting game, like any kind of reading or you mentioned maybe a video game?
I was like, I hear everybody, I see the Call of Duty tournaments going on, people talking about it. I was like, I'll just about play, just leisurely, just to play. I mean, I've played it before. Don't get me wrong. It's just video games is not really the thing I do now. I'm a big, obviously, golfer. So the Tiger Woods golf back in the day, that was called Roy McIlroy golf for a while. Things like that. But reading mostly. I'm reading. I'm finishing up Stuart Scott's book. Mm-hmm. He's one of my buddies, good friend, the Tar Heel, and he said some nice things about me. So I wanted to read up on that book. So I got to know him very well over the years, obviously. So it was an emotional read, especially reliving some of the moments that I know about.
Yeah.
And reading the insert he put on me. Oh gosh, it was just crazy. It was just crazy to read, and just obviously know he's not here, and just to know his impact in the broadcasting world. I guess that's why it's so special, because of his reach and how he made people feel on air. Mm-hmm. And everybody loved him and started to kind of take different approaches that he would use and do over the years. So great book.
That's awesome. I'm sure for you, it's even more personal having the Carolina stuff and the stories about you. Did you get like really emotional when you read your parts?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm gonna tell you what it was. One of the memories I have of him, the fondest, would be the playoffs in 2001, my graduation. He spoke at my graduation. He was our speaker.
Wow.
And we sat and talked and waited in the back through all this, and just hearing him congratulate me and telling me like how it's amazing. I was able to kind of make the two work, graduating and still playing the game. And he was rooting for me. Obviously we root for each other because of our college background and just knowing each other for a long time. So, that's one of the first things, obviously starting to read the book and then reading that little part, the parts about, that he said about me. He's a great guy.
And did you, correct me if I'm wrong, did you like fly to your graduation the day of a game or something? Right?
Yeah. Flew private. Yeah. Well, no, let me say, I flew to Chapel Hill the night before. So the team flew to Philly. I left from Toronto to Chapel Hill the night before. So I was already there because our graduation, I think, was at 9 in the morning. And then from there, after the graduation, I flew straight from Philly from Chapel Hill, which wasn't a long flight.
But it's still risky. But you had to go. You were committed.
Yeah, but but at the same time, it's like it was 9 in the morning. I graduated. We had our team walk through at like 11:30, 12 o'clock. I was there 20 minutes early. So I was in the meeting room sitting there before the players even got there. So I was back in time, still took my nap, did everything like normal, except for my flight early in the morning.
Oh. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I played, it was the mind games and listening to what everybody else is saying. And, flying in the morning, you're jet lagged. There's no way you'll be able to play it. And listening, I remember, the one thing I remember about it more than anything that made me laugh, but kind of bothered me, is that I remember, I want to say it was ESPN, but I remember one of the stations had an expert call in and talk about how, jet lag and it's going to take all these hours and you shouldn't be able to play. I was like, man, I'm me. And I can handle this, and that's kind of how I felt. I was like, I can handle this. And I remember the first 2 or 3 minutes, maybe let's say first 5 minutes of the game, I was running down the court. My legs felt heavy at first. I was like,
uh-oh.
My first shot was short because I was so worried about it, tried to be perfect. Maybe they were right. And then after that, I was fine.
That's funny. They're all in your head. Let's rewind a little bit to NBA and kind of what's happening right now. And I want to take you out of the equation. We can talk more like if this is retirement in the next couple of weeks or whatever, but just from your perspective, like what's the best thing for the league to be doing right now? Like how would you, tell them to handle it if you could help?
I know all the fans want to see basketball and we're dying to see some sports and do all of that. But for me, I just say the league taking their time, doing the right thing is the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you make your decision either way to resume, cancel, that's it. It's not like, we're joking, we're taking it back.
Right.
So if they're taking their time to figure out the best way to handle this, so be it. Like I said, I know that they're taking their time, sacrifices, by final games. And I'm okay with that. I know fans and people are like, we want to see you play. But, I think the bigger picture is what matters right now is just the safety for everyone. Obviously, you'd like to see business as usual and everybody going back to their jobs and not having to worry about making ends meet, how they're going to see that next check and everything. And we want that to happen. But we also want you safe to continue breathing on this earth, or your family members to continue to breathe on this earth. I don't know what's the right thing, because I'm not well educated on all of it. As far as common sense is concerned, it's just like, if taking this long to make a decision on what's right, I understand the playoffs is most important. That's the most exciting. That's when everybody's watching. It's on center stage. So in my mind, I think, I could be wrong there again. I think they're just trying to figure out how to make things right for the playoffs. And then if they can find 3, 5, 6, 7, 10 games or whatever to play for the warm-up game, that's fine. Do I think there'll be fans? I don't think there'll be fans in the stands still.
Mm-hmm.
I would say this is off subject, but real quick, the weirdest thing I watched was watching Monday Night Raw. they're still going on with no fans in there and still be in character and still do their job. And it's amazing to see. And it was just great to see. And it's kudos to them for it to still stay in character and stay focused without having the roar of the crowd that we're so used to and we feed off of. They bring their own
playoffs.
Yeah. And they're bringing their own energy. So that's the challenging part of it. So I think having a couple games to warm up for teams to get players to get used to that is essential. But yeah, that's really my take on it. So I just, like I said earlier, I'm content and I'm one with either decision. So if it's over, unfortunate, but yes, it's over. And like I said, I went out with a make and a great feeling and great memories. And if we're going to continue this thing sooner, let's do it.
And I was thinking about it, like if they did do playoffs, those warm-up games are essential because you guys are, I mean, I know a lot of guys have home gyms and stuff, but you can't be in the facility or you can't be, going to work out. And so you have to have at least, a month maybe?
You guys have to get back into NBA shape.
Right.
And the high level shape to play in the professional game in general, but for the playoffs. And yeah, like you said, some guys are fortunate to have their own gyms in their houses or access to gyms where they have the keys. I know a couple of players on our team who has that service. But for the young guys who don't have that, they need time to kind of get back into the swing of things. So the NBA, all the sports, but golf, all these different sports that have canceled activity has a tough decision to make, and a lot of figuring out to do as far as do's and don'ts, rights and wrongs. Obviously, money coming in. We all know that's what's important, for a lot of these organizations, and we rely on our checks. We rely on the money coming in. And it's an adjustment period, figuring out how to make ends meet. So it's a tough decision. I'm glad I'm not making that decision.
Right. Yeah. That's why the only reason I've had peace is none of this is up to me. So I'm just going to let the people that are much smarter and much more above me make those right decisions.
Yeah.
I do want to say about, making ends meet and stuff. If they are listening, I want to shout out to Jamie Gertz and Tony Ressler and the rest of the Hawks ownership group. They've pledged to maintain pay for not only us full-time employees, but also the part-time employees that would have been working the games and the concerts and all that. And it's unbelievable. Yeah, especially because there's literally no money coming in anymore. And so the fact that they did that and they've, kind of inspired other ownership groups to do that is mind-blowing.
Yeah, and I have to give a personal shout out to just the organization in general. Just listening to them talk, we were one of the first to kind of handle things how we handle it as far as keeping guys away, our communication with our personal space, making sure our personal space was limited. We had the one day of like some guys in the gym, and then we cut that out, and just we've done a good job of just making sure guys are protected, families are protected, and just doing our part in the community. We just did the recent video for the doctors and nurses and all of the people who are making a difference in helping heal the world right now and putting themselves at risk. And it was cool to see our entire team join in the video. And it's something simple like that to kind of motivate and encourage all people. And we just did it in the local area, but for all those who are listening, we definitely appreciate you really you giving your time and making sure we're all safe and continue to encourage us to do the right thing for your safety as well.
Yeah. And from the top to the bottom, like from the doctors to the janitors working at the hospitals, we are so grateful for every single one of them. And I can't imagine being in their position right now, putting their lives on the line.
One of the most important people are the janitorial staff, as far as just cleansing and keeping it clean for everybody to feel safe and be safe when they walk into these different buildings and doctors' offices and so on and so forth. So, I mean, no person is more superior than the other right now. They're all as important.
Absolutely. Yeah. Big shout out to them. Watching the news, like you said, it's a little bit too much, but it's crazy what our country is going through, and we are beyond grateful for all those people. So thank you guys if you're listening. Let's talk about the last night of this past season. Hopefully not the last night forever, but you tweeted out specifically, such a weird night, but I am truly thankful for each and every person during this 22-year journey. If it really is it, I thank everyone for your love and support for all these years. So I know this is emotional because I get emotional just reading that, but like for you, what are those people or those memories that really stand out the most to you that made you want to write that tweet?
Well, first is just kind of, like I said, being one with the situation. I wanted to get in front of it before everybody else kind of made their assumptions of what I was thinking. That's one thing is that kind of bothers me when we assume a player is saying or will say or thinking one thing. So I kind of wanted to jump in front of it, being that I'm not super active on social media anyway. So I don't want it to be, by way of, no, I want it to come from me. I didn't want to put it on any other engines and sites, and then want it to come from me. And that was just like, at that moment, I want to say I was sitting in the garage with Rita still.
Wow.
Actually, I think I was still here because I was the last one to do my interview. So I was just sitting there and I was talking to my buddy KP, shout out to the colleagues. We were sitting there, we were talking about him, kind of reflecting on how it all happened and, listening to him talk, like he's like, he's just like, I came to the game today like, okay, just another game, not knowing that this was your last game, quote unquote, potentially. So for me, just talking about it, I just felt like it was important. Like I said, I just sat there and did the scrum with everybody, but it was just like, for me personally, my way of just thanking people. Over 22 years, it's hard to thank every person, every player, media member, just people in general, random people, arena staff, because I make it my business sometimes when I'm there just to speak and laugh and joke with them like everyone else. Obviously, everybody in the hallways to our locker room I talk to all the time. So it was just my way of just kind of thanking them immediately for support, my time in the league. And that was it wasn't just for Atlanta. It was kind of for everybody, like over my years. And, I didn't want to just kind of, first of all, you can only put so much in a tweet.
Right.
But I wanted to make sure what I said kind of reached everyone over the course of 22 years, which is hard to do. Mm-hmm. And I hope everybody, who I've come in contact with, been great friends, best friends, associates, whatever, kind of felt that and enjoyed it, because it was just like, I don't know how to really say that to all these people. I need some months to kind of go through. Oh yeah, shoot, I forgot about him. So it was just, it was kind of thought out, but it was just kind of a feeling, a mood, and an emotion at that time. And what I said was, was how I was feeling. And I was just thankful for it. And it was just funny listening to KP talk. Like, man, he's like, I'm selfish. I don't want this to end. I want to see you finish. I want to see you play. I want to see you this. And I was just like, walking down that hallway and driving home when I got home, or maybe I tweeted that when I got home, actually. I did, because when I was sitting here on the couch, I was like, dang, am I okay with this or am I not? And I am. Because it's just, I understand. Like, I try to be a big picture guy. The big picture is, it is what it is. I mean, the big picture is we're trying to make sure we're all safe. And it is what it is. And it's weird. And we're 3 weeks removed from it. And I still get the tweets from people saying, hey, this is not right. You should finish like this. And I get it. And it's cool. It's not the storybook ending we all want. Just like when we grow up and we have this way we're going to live our lives. We're going to grow up, we're going to be 20 something and have kids and family. And it doesn't happen that way, but you still adjust and you still move on. This is not what to say.
Knowing you like I do, I know that you truly meant that in the tweet, and like that you really wanted it to touch everyone, like your teammates and even media and fans. Like you want them to know how grateful you are for their support. Yeah,
that was definitely my initial thoughts. And like I said, I didn't want to go too deep at the time because, like I said, to go and do all the thank yous to so many people, and then all of a sudden the season's like, yeah, I was just joking, and then to do it again. So I don't know. It was kind of like if this is it, like I said, I'm very appreciative of it. I wanted to thank everybody. And like I said, instead of trying to name everyone, I wanted to just thank everybody because everybody played an important role, whether they knew it or not.
Yeah. And I want to say if, and this is a capital IF, this is the end. Is there anything, not the end, but the end of your playing career, is there anything you would want to say to fans that are listening that have supported you through these 22 seasons?
I'm going to wait. When it's official, okay. We're definitely going to get on because, I know they're going to want me to do it with media and all that, but we'll definitely do a special show for that. And I could kind of say my thank yous and everything because, it's for one to give you some time to think about it instead of kind of, I could just be a little more genuine and instead of just doing it within the media, which I try to be as genuine as possible. It's different, when we're sitting here talking in this setting. I definitely want to try to reach out to as many people and just say my thank yous. Like I said, I'm always hesitant with doing that when I try to target and individualize people because I tend to miss people.
Yeah,
and then people are like, "What about me?" So that's why I'm a little hesitant in doing that. So. But as of right now, I'm thankful for like fans who are concerned for me and wanting to see me finish the season in these last 15 games or so. It's just cool to see and to know people care that much. Obviously, the common denominator. Out of all the tweets are obviously seeing, one of two is seeing that last game in Toronto and seeing my last game at home in general, which is really it. Mm-hmm. So those were two that you were looking forward to it, but I don't really know how I would handle it. It's like, believe it or not, it's kind of like, man, it's coming. And KP texted me a couple of days ago. He's like, hey, man, in 2 weeks we'd have been getting ready for Toronto. All of my friends and family are so excited. They're all going to be there to support me and just be in the building. I have a lot of random people tweeting me and just saying, hey, I had my ticket to be there. So it was going to be a big freaking party and
in Toronto.
And that's kind of how I want it to be, more so than a send off. And like if it's a send off, I can't handle that. Like if it was just let the game play, let it happen. Everybody cheer, yay, goodbye, man, it's cool. All right, I'm good. But if we try to get all sentimental, man,
not going to end well.
I'm good.
Well, we will hopefully. I guess once we find out the official news from the league, then we can do maybe a retirement kind of episode if that's what we need to do then.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll give it some time. We never know what's going to happen exactly. Well, we can go ahead and close, but hopefully we can do another one of these later in the week or next week and maybe catch up with some guests that we had lined up to do it when they were in town. Maybe we can get on there on video with them.
Yeah, we definitely can now.
Yeah,
we probably get anybody we want. Yeah, we definitely should do that because they're definitely bored. But outside of that, it's kind of this is kind of good to kind of get to do some of these and talk to the people like this and with social distancing, you can't do, but social distancing, you can't do, but so much. And, at least people have something to do and they can listen to us in their house. And like I said, send in your requests for people. Hopefully we can line up, and also send in some questions, man. Let's talk. Let's talk.
Let's do it. I'm looking forward to it. It'll give me something more to do in the social distancing. Wow. We want to thank you guys so much for listening, so much for tuning in. We've missed you all. I've missed my partner, Vince Carter, and I'm glad to have you back on here.
Yes.
We will talk soon, and don't forget to give us 5 stars down below.
5 stars.
Right
we deserve
now.
5 stars now, because like we're your outlet now. We're one of your outlets. You have a lot of podcast things to do, but we're back.
We're back, baby. So for Annie Finberg and Vince Carter, we will talk to you next time.